I am Dr. Mahammad Rafi, Associate Professor, Department of Cyber Security at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I want to discuss about the computer network subject, in which the topic is a virtual LAN. Virtual LAN means virtual local area networks. The outcome of the virtual local area network is, which is improve network security. By using the virtual local area networks, we can improving the network security. So here how we are going to improving the network security means now, isolating the other traffics between the virtual LANs. That means now virtual LAN, that means virtual is nothing but it is a logical local area network. So isolates the traffic between the different VLANs means dividing the traffics between the different virtual local area networks. By dividing the traffics between the different virtual local area networks and reducing the unauthorized access and the potential security risks can be reduced. That means with this now improving the security. Next outcome is which is enhance virtual local area networks. That means local area networks now, which is enhancing the network performance. Here, which is limits the broadcast traffic. Now, broadcast traffic means here, broadcasting means now one to many devices. That means now which is sending the from one devices to the many devices through the switches. So that should be the limits to the specific LANs only. Now by sending the data to specific LANs, so it will be the broadcasting traffic can be at the limit, and also the congestions, network congestions also can be reduced with help of the virtual local area networks. Here, and improving the efficiency, utilization and efficiency, that can be improved, and also simplifying the network management. Next the outcome is now which is simplifying the network management. So that means here how it is simplifying the network management means now the total the network can be divided into the different sub networks. Each and every sub network now we can make the virtual local area network, that is virtual LANs can be arranged. So like this now we can simplifying the network management. So by simplifying this one now makes the network configurations and management is more flexible. Management should be very more flexible and very easier by logically grouping the devices. Logically grouping the devices means now here one virtual LAN, whatever the devices are connected in a one particular virtual LAN, that will be logically grouped, and without the physical changes now with these virtual LANs logically grouping the other devices. These three are the outcomes of a virtual local area networks. Here virtual local area network, so it is a network configuration. These virtual LAN now, these are the network, so which allowing the administrator, that is a network administrator, by allowing the network administrator, so it is to partitioning the physical network. That means large networks can be partitioned into the multiple and distinct logical networks. That means one network can be divided into the number of sub networks. So it is divided into the number of is a main the physical network. So it is a physical network. So these are the physical network can be divided into the number of multiple networks, logical networks. So this is a logical network, and logical network 1, and this one is a logical network 2 dash dash n number of logical network n number of other networks now we can divide it. That is a multiple other devices. Distinct logical networks can be other devices. So logical networks by dividing as a logical network now by using the single other switch. So by using the single other switch now, data can be shareable to the multiple other devices and multiple VLANs, multiple virtual. This is a one virtual LAN, and this network is another virtual LAN. This is another virtual LAN. So like this now, multiple virtual LANs now the data can be sent. Here within this virtual LAN, within this the virtual LAN now, broadcasting communication can be done within this virtual LAN. But with help of these the switches, only with the switches now, broadcasting can be done. But here in this by dividing of these logical networks now, we can't able to communicate from one network to the other network. If you want to communicate from one logical network to the another logical network, we have to use some routers. With help of these routers only, by connecting the routers to the switches now, we can establish the communication from one virtual LAN to the another virtual LAN. So this is about the virtual LANs. That's why each and every virtual LAN will be configured. Here the differences between the logical network and physical network now, if you observe here the definition, so conceptual, the layer defined by the software. That means here virtual networks can be defined by the softwares. So by defining by the software, switches can be connected to the multiple virtual LANs. Physical networks means actually which is actual hardware connection. That means so it is connected to the all hardware devices. The components in a virtual LANs generally we are using here in a logical network here. VLAN is one component here, and VPN and IB subnets and SDN. These are the components can be used for connecting the logical networks. And for physical networks now, cables, routers, switches, hubs can be utilized so that can be connected physically. And the configurations, in terms of this the configurations now, logical network is a software based and flexible configurations. So these are the logical networks are working by installing the software. And in terms of this the configuration, the physical networks are hardware based statistics. By connecting the devices with the cables or routers, switches and hubs, then only the communication can be established in a physical network. Here scalability, easy to expand and reconfigure, limited by the physical resources. In terms of the security, software is defined and segmentations and isolation. That means here the isolation means the software can be divided to the multiple VLANs. So that will be segmented and divided into the multiple VLANs, and the data traffic can be avoided. So equally the data can be shareable to the multiple LANs with this isolation of the devices. Physical networks now, the physical barriers and hardware are the security here. These are all the physical barriers and hardware of the security is required here. The example for these logical networks are VLAN. Virtual LAN is an example of the logical network. These virtual LANs can be used in a logical networks. Here in a physical networks, example are Ethernet, routers and switches, fiber optic cables. These are all the examples for the physical networks. VLAN means virtual local area networks. VPN is a virtual private network. And SDN means software defined networking. SDN means software defined networking. These networks are working by installing the softwares only. Depends upon the softwares only. So these networks are working. And the definition of the virtual local area network means it is a logical subdivision of a physical network. That means here whatever the physical network is considered here. So this is the physical network. With help of this the physical network now, so logically subdivided into the number of network. So this is one other network, and it is another other network. Different types of other networks now logically that will be divided into the number of different networks. Here this is a subdivision: network 1, network 2, network 3. That is a we each and every other network now which is having the virtual LAN. Here is virtual LAN. Here also this network having the virtual other LAN, and this network also having the virtual LAN. But this intra communication can be done. That means now the broadcasting can be done within a virtual LAN. So here also in virtual LAN 3 also now the broadcasting can be done within this other network. Here also the broadcasting can be done within this network. Broadcasting means one to many devices. Communicating with one to many devices can be done. Unicasting means one to one. Whatever the signals, whatever the messages are coming from the server here, so that can be shareable to the all virtual LANs. Now here is now we can arrange the switches by via these the switch ports. Now all network, a single switch or multi switch, all virtual networks now the data transmissions can be done. Here is now in this virtual LAN, once if you set the virtual LANs here, from one virtual LAN to another other virtual LAN, we can't able to establish the other communication. Here is if you want to establish the communication from one virtual LAN to another virtual LAN, here the routers are required. With help of these other routers now, we can establish the other communication from one LAN to the another LAN. So this is required for this one. That means now, so this is the definition of the virtual network, which is divided into subdivisions. So this is entire total physical network. So it is divided into subdivisions: VLAN 1, VLAN 2, VLAN 3. It groups the devices on a network into the separate and isolated the segments, divided the segments, and even if they are not physically connected to the same switch. Now it is not connected to the same switch. Isolate the segments are way to dividing the network into the smaller subnets. So this is one subnet and this is another subnet. This one is another other subnet. Smaller other subnets. So that means now which is improving the security and performance. Generally, these virtual local area networks are implemented in switches. We are using switches can be utilized. By using these switches now, these VLANs can be implemented. So this is one network. So this is a network is for example now. So this is entire organization. This entire organization can be divided, separated the segmentation. That means now it is a network of the CSE department, and it is a network of the EC department, and this is a network of the IT department. Different departments. Here is now in CSE department now the devices, whatever the devices are arranged here locally, it will be communicated. That means these locally communicated, these CSE department HOD communicated this one here, and EC department HOD can be communicated EC the faculty and EC students, and IT department HOD can communicate here. So but here EC while arranging this the virtual local area networks now, EC HOD can't communicate directly with the CSE, and EC can't communicate with the IT HOD. That means now if they want to communicate now in between this now, we have to arrange the routers. We have to arrange the routers can be, if it is connected to the routers, if it is connected to routers, these are the switch now. By connecting to router here, so inter-department communication can be done. That means CSE to ECE, ECE to IT. These type of these other communication can be done. So these are the switch. This the switch can be connected to the multiple other devices. So here, which is improving the performance and enhancing the security. That means each and every the department having some privacy and security. So it will be the enhanced and improve the security and optimizing the resource utilizations and resource management here. That means resources can be the transfer shareable to the all the departments. Here with this virtual local area network now, so the monitoring system monitoring very with help of these the switches and routers now effectively we can monitor the entire organization. Here, virtual local area network is a virtualized connection. So it is a logical connection. So that is not a physical connection that connect the multiple other devices. And networking nodes. Here, this is the virtual connection. This virtual local area via these virtual local area networks now. So multiple other devices now, logically we can connect the multiple devices and multiple networks also now we can connect multiple nodes from the different LANs into one logical network. So this is about the virtual area and the key points. Generally in a virtual local area network now, generally we are using the key points now, which is operates at a different link layers of the OSI reference model. That is a different data link layer at the OSI reference model. This generally here, while we are establishing the virtual local area network now, so we are generally preferring the layer 2 in a OSI reference model. Layer 2 will be operated. That means layer 2 means data link layer will be operated over the virtual local area networks. Now, which is creates the smaller broadcast other domains and reducing the unnecessary traffic now, which will be reduce the some unnecessary traffics now and creating the very smaller broadcasting domains. Here is now which is provides the logical segmentation and improving the security and performance. By segmentation here, logical network now the security and the performance can be improved. So logical segmentation means different parts, different the segments now. The networks can be whole network, physical network can be divided. Here it is the collisions, the collision domain now switches can be using. So this is one network here. This one is another other network. These two different networks are connected via the virtual LAN, and this one also connected via the virtual LAN with help of the other switches. And these are the switches now, what it is doing now. So by connecting, this is one other domain now. This is another network that is a virtual LAN that can be made with a virtual other LAN this network. And by arranging the other virtual LANs, by dividing the total network into the small networks, small logical networks now, the collisions, the traffic, the collisions can be avoided. That is a collision domain now. It is a very clear now. The data can be via the switches now. Whatever the data coming from the server, with help of these switches, the data can be transferred to the without the traffic to different virtual local area networks. That means here now, these are the collision domains now, which is so suppose in broadcasting domain means now within these suppose here if it is number of in a virtual local area network, number of devices are connected. Within these the devices can be communicated within this VLAN now the broadcasting communication can be done. So out of this VLAN now, if you want to communicate now, we can't able to communicate out of the VLAN. Here if you want to communicate the one VLAN to the another VLAN here, so you have to utilize the routers. With help of these routers now, we can establish the communication from one VLAN to the another VLAN. Without the routers, by options of these routers now, we can't establish the communication from one VLAN to the another VLAN. That means one network, one subnet to the other subnet now, we can't establish the other communication. That's why logical segmentation, these are the number of logical segments. This logical segmentation which improve the security and the performance is also improving. Here, for that now we are using the switches and other routers. Via that now we are improving the this security and performance. These are all the other key points. Network and the segmentation. Here is the network segmentation. What now? One or more other two switches now we are using. This is a sales department. That means now this is a sales department, and the accounting department is a financing department, and this is a manufacturing department. This is the financing department having one virtual LAN, and this accounting department has another virtual LAN, and this one also another virtual LAN. Different virtual LANs now. So now the communication can be done in a sales department by if you make it as this the network with the virtual LAN only. In a sales department only you can communicate. Here also accounting department only if you communicate. If you want to communicate from accounting department to the sales department here, so effectively and securely now we have to arrange the routers. In between these routers, now by arranging the routers now we'll provide the security, that is the firewalls. By providing high security now the transparency can be done. So this is a network segmentation. That means the network segmentation means networks total organization network can be divided into the multiple other parts, multiple the sub networks. In the segment of the network can be divided into the number of segments, number of sub networks. Number of segments means number of sub networks. Okay, sales department is a one network, accounting department is a one network, financing department is another network, and manufacturing department is another other network. So now in a network segmentation can be done and provided by segmenting, and data also very high as secure and protecting the data, and high performance, the accuracy also can be improved by the network segmentation. How these virtual LANs are work? That means here logical segmentation. First we have to logically segmented the network. Now, that means here that network will be logical segmentation means now we each and every the network which is having the one virtual LAN, by arranging the virtual LANs now, so the network can be divided into the logically. That's why here, so VLAN now which is allowing the other devices on a physical network. We are taking the total other physical network of the particular other organizations. So these total physical network of that other particular organization now with the logical segmentation of this other network other technology we are doing grouped into the divided into the some logical networks, divided logical networks now. So regardless of this the physical locations, and here now with these logical groups now which ensures that traffic is isolated. Here is whatever the traffic we are data is moving from one network to the another network. So this will be the isolated, divided into the equal part. Now the traffic the congestions can be controlled with help of these logical segmentations, and flowing only within a defined virtual LAN. Whatever the virtual LAN we have identified, the data transparency, the data can be flowed that particular identified LAN only. Here is a layer 2 functionality. Layer 2 functionality, next virtual local area networks now which is operated generally layer 2 with help by providing of the data with help of the data link layer of OSI reference model now which is working. Virtual local area network is working by supporting of the data link layer, so of the OSI model. Here is in a virtual virtual LAN is identified generally, so by using the VLAN ID, each and every virtual LAN which is having the some ID. So with help of this ID now we can identify the virtual LAN, and data transmissions can be done effectively without the congestions or without the conflicts. Now the data effectively can be sent to a particular the identified virtual LAN. So which is the ID generally which is ranging from the 1 to 4094. So that is here. So in this range now we are utilizing this identification. Now we are using that protocol now IEEE 802.1 the Q protocol we are utilizing for virtual LAN identifications. So switches uses virtual LAN IDs now to forwarding the packets only to the particular other device within the same LAN. That means now here is we are using the switches. These are the switches now forwarding the other packets to the identified other device. Identified other device means here now the identified ID, virtual LAN ID. Based on that virtual LAN ID, the switches can be displayed, dispatching the data, delivering the data to the other devices. That means which is maintaining the isolation. So that means isolation means now meaning is dividing into the number of sub networks, number of other parts. Maintaining isolation means we virtual LANs are dividing the number of parts. So here with this now the traffic the congestions can be effectively controlled. And the example here is the traffic separation between the departments. The example for the usage of the virtual local area network, one example is a traffic separations between the departments. For example here the scenario for this one is one organization, for example now one organization having the three departments. One is a HR department, another is a finance department, another is a IT department. So in these the three departments now, the separation, we have to separating the traffic. That means now virtual LANs are configured to the logically segmented to the segment the other networks. Now these are different types of this now virtual LAN, the version 10 here, that is a HR department, utilized for HR department, and virtual LAN other 20 which is the financial department, and virtual LAN other 30 which is for IT other department. Here is now if you see the presentation, diagrammatical presentation for these the department virtual LAN the department hierarchy now if you see. So this is the HR department. HR department. So the HR department now which is using the virtual LAN 10, and a financial department which is using the virtual LAN 20. IT department using the virtual LAN other 30. Here is now traffic, how we are going to separating the traffic. The data can be transferred here from these switch now. The equally now we are going to transferring the data to the financial department, and transferring the other data to the IT department. That means finance to IT department, and transferring the other data to the HR department also. Different other departments. So this is one department, and isn't it? This one is another other department. So this is another department. Different other departments. Here is in this different other departments now. So here intra broadcasting can be done. That means one device to another locally can be other communicated. With help of these the routers now, one department to another department we can establish the other communication. Here is sending logically these networks are divided. With help of these virtual LANs now, logically the networks can be divided into the number of departments now. So separate HR department now here from this router now which is identify the virtual LAN 10 the ID. So virtual VLAN, that is the ID number is the 10 here with this ID number the 10 now. So which is sending the regarding HR department data, and financial the switch here which is transferring the financial department data to this financial other network, and IT department. So here this switch now which is transferring the IT department related data. That means now data separations can be effectively done with help of this. By arranging the virtual LANs. These networks are arranging the virtual LANs now. The data separations can be done. These are the data while separating these are the data or the separation here. The congestions can be avoided. The conflicts can be avoided. One department to another department also we can communicate by arranging the routers between the department to department now. So we are arranging the routers. So intercommunication, department intercommunication can be done. If you won't arrange the routers now, only we can establish the communication only intra-department only. It is the diagram here, three virtual LANs for the HR, finance and IT department. So in this the diagram, the logical segmentation of this network with each virtual local area networks now, which is connect to the central switch. So this is a central switch and the traffic isolations between them. So with help of this the central switch now the traffic can be separated. The data traffic separation means data transformation can be separated. So data transformation separated means so which is sending the data to the HR department regarding the related HR department data and related financial data sending the financial department and related IT department and sending the data to the IT department. So this is a diagrammatical presentation of the usage of the virtual local area networks. And now if you see the benefits of this virtual local area networks now, so here which is improving the security and optimizing the traffic flow and simplifying the network management. So this is the benefits of these virtual local area networks. That means now the broadcasting messages from a device in a virtual local area networks will only reach other devices in a VLAN 10, which ensuring the isolations by arranging the routers between the HR department and financial department and IT departments. Here generally we are using the types of virtual local area networks are data VLAN, management VLAN, voice VLAN, default VLAN, native VLAN. So these different types of these virtual networks now we are utilizing in a communication, data separation communication. Data VLAN now generally it is used for user generated data traffics such as any emails or file sharing and application. This is all comes under the data VLAN, working via the data VLANs. So isolate the user traffic from the other type of the traffic for the better performance and the security. And next is a management VLAN. Management as a VLAN now which is dedicated for the network management traffic such as the configurations and monitoring and device management. Here also so which is helpful for the securing to access the network infrastructure devices like switches and routers. And voice over VLAN, that is a mobile communication. The best example is a mobile communication used for the voice traffic now which is generated by the voice over the internet as a protocol now which is voice packets to ensuring the low latency and high the quality of the services. And default VLANs, which is a pre-configured VLANs. So that means on a switches and typically VLAN 1 here. So these are all the pre-configured virtual local area networks on a switches. That means now all switch ports that can be belongs to the virtual local area network by default unless reassigned. Here is the so this is recommended. This one initially set up but not recommended for the productions use due to the security other concerns. This default which is having the very less security by constructing by making the default virtual labs. Native VLANs generally it is used untagged traffic trunks on a links. That means now the trunks can be arranged to the that can be connected to the switches. Here it is used for the untagged traffic on a trunked links, which is ensuring the compatibility with the devices that do not support the virtual local area networks other tagging. Here is untagged traffic means here that the connected the networks and host does not known which virtual local area is connected to the switch. We don't know with the help of this untagged traffic which local area network is connected now, so it will be not identified. Advantages of the virtual local area networks are enhanced network security. That means isolate the sensitivity traffic between the VLAN, reducing the risk and unauthorized access. That is enhanced network security and improving the performance by reducing the broadcast domains. That means broadcast traffic is very limited to the other devices and optimizing the resource utilization So by containing the traffic and relevant virtual LANs and the simplified and the network other management. So this is another network management will be very simplified logically. That means simplified network management means now the physical network now logically divided into the equal parts in each and every equal network, which can be arranged with the virtual local area networks, that can be done without reconfigurations. Adding and moving can be done the devices very effectively and configured. Managing the network by managing the network policies and the configurations now. So effectively we can configure the network. Here is the flexibility in a network design. So it is very flexible. Why? Because now which is allowing the different devices from the different the physical other locations to be grouped logically into the same VLANs. So this is flexible in a network designing. That's why organizational needs such as the segmentation can be done, departmental segmentation and guest and IoT devices now as per the user needs. Now that network can be organized. Virtual networks can be organized. Real world applications are office network segmentation can be done and isolation IoT devices from the critical system. So this is another real world application. That means IoT devices, that is a smart cameras, sensors are placed in a dedicated VLANs. Why? Because now which is preventing the vulnerabilities from the affecting critical systems, reducing the risks and attacks, malware attacks from the unauthorized users now to accessing the main network, securing the guest access in a public Wi-Fi. So this is another the real world the application now. So which is placed in a separate VLANs that will be differentiated, isolated from the internal other resources, preventing the guest from accessing the sensitive data and the systems on the main network. Generally now which is segmented the guest Wi-Fi traffic okay, in hotels from the staff and management systems. Generally it will be considered. Here the textbooks for this virtual local area networks are data communication and networking and computer other networks, Tenenbaum and Foregen.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.